I've told you recently about downtown Orlando's future, but will it survive to see itself reinvented? I'm Phil Kruse, and welcome to the Orlando Real Estate Lifestyle. My friend Jen owns a restaurant right there in downtown Orlando, and it becomes a nightclub after dinner ends. She is at her wits' end with the new regulations and restrictions imposed by the city of Orlando. Are these just the city's growing pains, or is Orlando just screwing this all up? Today, we're going to be talking about the restrictions on bars and restaurants that is holding back the growth of downtown Orlando and making it extremely difficult to do business down there, especially if you're a restaurateur or bar owner. We're going to talk about the new incentives, the opposite side, that Orlando is offering to bring businesses into downtown, specifically fine dining restaurants and high-end restaurants. And we're going to recap Orlando's $750 million makeover that is coming and in many ways has already started. But before I dive into all of that, remember, I am a real estate agent and that my main lead sources, some of them anyway, other than referrals, are listeners like you. So when it's your time to make a major real estate decision, think of me, Phil Kruse, that's Kruse with a K, Kruse, or even if it's just a question. Now remember, a portion of all my commissions go to charity, either the charity of your choosing or to the New Image Youth Center, where I volunteer every single Wednesday during the school year. I'm teaching improv classes there. If you'd like to learn about Orlando and real estate and everything that goes along with it, find me on my social channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Phil Kruse, Kruse with a K, Kruse. Follow me there. Be sure to follow me. And of course, like and subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching there, hit the bell, or on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening to this, and turn on your notifications so that you can be made aware of when I drop new podcasts, which is every Monday. Look, pre-COVID, the downtown nightlife economy was estimated to be over $400 million. What does that mean? That means before COVID, the payroll for these bars and restaurants, this is not how much money the bars and restaurants were making. This is their DJs, their promoters, right? Their bartenders, their servers. That was estimated to be a total economy of $400 million. And it's crazy now to understand that as of May 2023, so we've been dealing with this for about a year and a half, the city of Orlando created an ordinance restricting alcohol sales after midnight without a special permit. And it has slowly been chipping away at the soul, frankly, of a lot of these downtown restaurants, bars, and establishments that have been struggling to understand what the city of Orlando wants, have been struggling to meet the regulations and adhere to the regulations. Look, what does this all mean? They need a permit, okay? You need a special permit, like I said, to operate, have alcohol sales after midnight. But it's more than just a permit. It's a $250 fee for the permit. That's nothing. But what else do you need? You got to hire an off-duty cop, okay? That is not cheap to be there during those hours. You have to have a weapons detection system. What the heck is that, right? Are we going through airport security? If you've been downtown to some of these bars or restaurants that stay open late, it might feel like you're going through airport security. You might have to get wanded or, with a metal detector or anything like that. They actually have to physically scan your ID. It's no longer can they look at your ID. And guess what? If they scan your ID and it scans, they still have to check it. One of my friends told me, the same friend, Jen, the city of Orlando set up a whole sting operation around and basically shut down every bar because they had a black police officer using an undercover, using a white person's ID. It passed the ID scanners, but nobody really checked that closely, and they all got slapped on the wrist and closed. Oh, by the way, you have to have occupancy load monitors. Okay. Now we're trying to keep people safe. Now I get it. The city of Orlando, especially downtown, is dealing with a lot. High crime. We've had shootings. We had a shooting this past October for Halloween. And downtown now has this perception of being an unsafe place, especially to go at night. So the city of Orlando is trying to crack down on that. But from the perspective of the owners and operators that have been down there for a long time, it's way too much. It's cost prohibitive. They can't make any money. And now they even have to keep track of how many people are in their bar every single night. You have to have some sort of a accounting system. Most of them are going to be manually counting with little clickers or digitals stuff, but there's all kinds of other special load monitoring systems that can be used. These regulations have been slowly strangling some of the bars downtown that have been there the longest. Think about Church Street. You got Chillers closed. You got Ember closed. These places just closed. So closer to the Orlando City Soccer Stadium, Broken Strings Brewery closed. Hamburger Mary's also on Church Street recently left downtown. Look, Church Street is essentially a ghost town now. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But certainly these regulations aren't helping anyone. And the fact that it seems to be a moving target makes it even more difficult. My friend went to the recent meeting in downtown Orlando where the city basically talked about the future of downtown Orlando and what's going on with these regulations. You know what she told me? She told me my podcast episode about what's happening in downtown Orlando in the future, the $750 million renovation. She said my podcast was more informative by a lot than what the actual city officials were telling her. And she asked me to send her the link so that she could re-listen and re-watch my podcast on YouTube to understand. So after this podcast, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify, scroll down. You're going to see the link to my previous podcast episode, which was released last year to the end of 2024, that is going to outline in more detail what the $750 million plan is. Now, what's worse is the real estate prices. So all this bad juju, okay? You got bad press reports, you got high crime, you got all the owners and operators upset. Real estate prices are maybe dropping in downtown. It's really hard to tell with these commercial properties, but there was a sale that happened in 2023 where the office building sold for half of what it had sold for in 2022. Half. That's crazy. So we got to hope that trend is not going to continue. I'm talking hundreds of dollars per square foot less. Now, when you hear something like that and you're a savvy investor, maybe this is an opportunity to buy. So something to keep in mind. If prices in Orlando become depressed, that is potentially an opportunity for a deal. So if you want to look at downtown Orlando and you got some money, you got some investors backing you, or you're in some sort of investor conglomerate, let me know. I can help you look into the prices in downtown and see if that is something you want to get into, because Orlando is not giving up. That is a guarantee. They're going to continue to pour money into downtown. They're going to work with these operators and get this right. With that said, let's talk about downtown's $750 million makeover and the vision of Mayor Buddy Dyer and his team. This is something, again, I have an entire podcast episode on. I'm making this one a quick hitter and update to what's going on in downtown. So I'll just give you the cliff notes and go back and check out that other episode. You got the West Court facility being installed there and built in downtown. This is multiple hundreds of millions of dollars right there across from the Amway Center. It's going to be a massive indoor-outdoor facility. There's going to be condos. There's going to be office space. There's going to be event venues. There's going to be restaurants. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's what's going on in a lot of major cities around their sports arenas and stadiums. This is going to be state-of-the-art. It's going to be epic. Right next to that, you're going to be, frankly, really connected to it, is going to be the canopy under I-4. This has been going on for years. We had the old parking under I-4 that we all used to go to when we were back in our bar hopping days. Maybe some of you still are. That's where a lot of people used to park to access Church Street. It's one of the many reasons Church Street is failing, is because of parking, and parking in downtown continues to be an issue. Well, that whole area under downtown, under I-4 that used to be parking, is finally starting construction this year, first quarter of this year, 2025, and they're going to turn it into a giant urban park, multiple blocks. And when it's done, it's going to be the world's largest permanent outdoor light show. They're going to project all over the underside of I-4 to make it look like it's outside, green space. They're going to hide the columns behind these fluted artistic columns. They're going to put down all kinds of fake grass and real grass, and there's going to be ride-sharing areas. It's going to be connected to the Lynx bus system that does a loop around downtown to make it easier for families to go there and then go to Lake Eola and back without having to walk. It is going to be amazing. Obviously, there'll be a concert venue there too. There's going to be food stalls and food vendor areas. It's going to be an awesome, awesome place. And then they're redoing the traffic in downtown Orlando. This is where a lot of the money's going. They're redoing, we'll start with the big one, Orange Avenue. So Orange Avenue generally runs south through downtown. You start up north there in the Ivanhoe district. You curl around like Ivanhoe and you come into downtown, and you go across Colonial heading south, and you went straight through downtown. It's 3 or 4 lanes. I think it's 3 lanes. one way. You can drive pretty fast if you time the lights. It's unsafe for pedestrians. The city of Orlando wants it to change. They want it to be a two-way road, and they're going to add a center lane for turning. And so it's going to slow down traffic, and they're going to make it more pedestrian friendly. And that should help revitalize that section. They're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Orange Avenue splits in downtown. So the northbound side is really Rosalind, and then it becomes Magnolia. Here in Orlando, we got so many lakes. If you're like me, it's kind of funny to observe. There's no roads in Orlando that stay the same name for more than a mile. You run into a lake, it has to curve around, and it changed names. Rosalind and Magnolia is the same thing. So the strip of Rosalind heading north into downtown from I-4, that's going to be converted into a two-way lane as well. So you're going to have 2 lanes and 2 lanes on either side. In between Rosalind in orange is a little strip of Magnolia. So this is before Rosalind curves, and Magnolia and Rosalind kind of merge into one, and then it changes names. It becomes just Rosalind. So, or excuse me, just Magnolia. So in between Rosalind and Magnolia is in between Rosalind and Orange is a little strip of road, Magnolia, that nobody goes down. Okay, there are some bars and restaurants there. My friend Jen's restaurant is right there. Hard to access, hard to find parking. You're going to be walking there. The city of Orlando has a vision for that strip of Magnolia to be something like Park Avenue, high-end restaurants, shops, walkability. That section of Magnolia is clunky. It's also one way. They're going to change that to a two-way road so that you can drive through slow. You can do your window shopping. You can check it out. And then just south of downtown Orlando, really, it's obviously it's part of downtown, but just south of the main areas, you have that whole hospital complex. Lake Lucerne is right there. They're going to transform Lake Lucerne into like a mini Lake Eola. So they're going to revamp and put a big walking circle around there. They're going to create green space for concert venues, having the markets, farmers markets. It's going to be amazing. So that's going to be another great part. Mayor Dyer has basically come out and said he wants downtown Orlando to be a giant park. They're adding other parks to other areas in downtown. Make sure you check out that podcast episode to get more information and much more detail about that stuff. Now, downtown was rebranded to DTO. That's its new name for its district. Church Street had its own designation at one time. All that's out the window. Downtown is now DTO, Downtown Orlando. How cool is that? And DTO has its own restaurant program called, you guessed it, the DTO restaurant program. If you are a restaurateur and you have 5 years of experience, you can go into downtown Orlando and find a space to open a restaurant, and the city of Orlando will throw in up to $400,000. This is grant money, not a loan, okay? For up to $400,000 for tenant improvements, okay? Now, this can go to you, existing owners. If you're listening to this out there and you didn't realize this program exists, you can leverage that. Also, they can help you out with rent up to $50,000 and $25,000 for outdoor seating upgrades, all right? The city of Orlando has come out and stated, their politicians have stated, they want more higher end restaurants. They want to attract more affluence. They want to attract more families. And right now, the bar to restaurant ratio, or at least nicer restaurants, is about 5 to 1, 5 bars to 1, roughly speaking. The city of Orlando has a different vision for downtown than that. And maybe that's part of the reason they're really squeezing down on these bars, because it's part of a wholesale change. I'm not really sure. It certainly feels like that. But bottom line is, if you want to go into Orlando and downtown Orlando, open up a new restaurant, there's some money from the city provided by our taxpayer dollars to help you be successful. Now, here's a catch. Both the owner of the restaurant, so if you're a chef and you're an owner of a restaurant or restaurant chain, and you have 5 years of experience, you and the building owner have to put skin in the game. So the city of Orlando is not just going to give you this free grant money. You have to invest a certain amount of your hard-earned cash or your investors' cash into the project, and then downtown Orlando will provide some cash in kind. So look, Orlando is the best city in the United States. I've established this multiple times. My last podcast was just about why Orlando is the best city in the US. And look, cities like Orlando are growing. A lot of cities can't say that right now. And sure, we're going to have our growing pains. We're going to figure this out. The downtown Orlando is going to figure this out. Bottom line is the money is there. $750 million committed to revitalizing downtown. Programs committed and earmarked towards supporting new restaurants and existing restaurants to renovate and get better. We're going to get through this in a few more years. I am hopeful and optimistic that downtown Orlando is going to be a shining jewel for the city to brag about. If you want to live in and around downtown Orlando like I do, of course, hit me up. My real estate services are top notch. I can help you sell your home. I'm a listing specialist, sell it for top dollar and fast. That's the key with an auction effect. Don't forget that a portion of all my real estate commissions go to charity, typically the New Image Youth Center, or wherever you want it to go. If you like this, follow me on my socials. I do little clips like this all the time, updating you about what's going on in Orlando. I do a Friday post for what's going on in the weekend, my 5 or 6 favorite events. So follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, like and subscribe to me on YouTube by hitting the bell or any of your podcast platforms and turn on your notifications. When these new episodes drop, it'll ping your phone. Check it out. And always know that your best life in Orlando is within reach. Keep embracing every moment. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Cheers.